Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Ghostbusters is a 1984 supernatural comedy film that was directed and produced by Ivan Reitman. The movie was written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. It stars Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis. Also playing major roles is Sigourney Weaver and Rick Moranis. It was released on June 8, 1984, to critical acclaim and just became a cultural phenomenon. It was well received for its blend of comedy, action, and horror, and Bill Murray's performance was singled out among all the actors for an enormous amount of praise. Dan Aykroyd conceived the idea for Ghostbusters based on his own fascination with spirituality. He saw it as a project for himself and his good friend John Belushi, in which they would venture through time and space, battling supernatural threats. Following Belushi's death in 1982, with Aykroyd's concept deemed financially impractical, Ramis was hired to help rewrite the script and to set it in New York City to make it more realistic. It was one of the first comedy films to employ expensive special effects, and Columbia Pictures was very concerned about its relatively high budget and had little faith in its box office potential. Filming took place from October of '83 to January of '84 in New York City and Los Angeles. Columbia Pictures executive Frank Price found the whole idea and concept for the film pretty funny, but he was still pretty unsure of the project as a whole. Price went on to agree to do the film as long as it could be released by June of 1984. As the title Ghostbusters was legally restricted by the 1970s children's show, The Ghostbusters, which was owned by Universal Studios. This caused the production to look for alternate titles for the movie. Those included Ghost Stoppers, Ghost Breakers, and Ghost Smashers. Eventually, Frank Price parted ways with Columbia early in the Ghostbusters production, and he became head of Universal Pictures, at which point he sold Columbia the title for $500,000 plus 1% of the film's profits. The hotline they use in the movie was real. Before the Ghostbusters become established in New York City, they release a commercial to advertise their services. The three original members, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis, appear on television with the number 555-2368. During the film's theatrical release in 1984, Ivan Reitman ran the very same commercial, which allowed people to call in. Callers would hear a pre-recorded message from Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, who go on to announce that they were unable to answer as they were busy busting ghosts. That number received 1,000 calls every hour, 24 hours a day, for several weeks. Sadly, the line is no longer operational. So if you're feeling troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night, there's no emergency number for you to call. Despite becoming one of the most iconic characters in the Ghostbuster franchise, Slimer is never actually name-dropped in either of the two movies, Ghostbusters or Ghostbusters 2. However, he was referred to as Onion Head by the crew of the original film. The ugly little spud wasn't actually named Slimer until the animated show, The Real Ghostbusters. Slimer also went by another name too, the Ghost of John Belushi, something that Dan Aykroyd started. Aykroyd has since confirmed that character of Slimer was heavily inspired by the late John Belushi. For starters, that green spook's hankering for food was based on Belushi's cafeteria scene in National Lampoon's Animal House from 1978. The original Ectomobile didn't look like the way it ended up in the film. The 1950s era Cadillac ambulance was originally painted black, but after they realized that it didn't register well at all on camera during the night scenes, they repainted it to white. The theme song that stands out so well in our minds could have sounded totally different. Both Huey Lewis and Lindsey Buckingham were offered the opportunity for the song, but in the end, Ray Parker Jr. won out, and reportedly, he wrote it in less than 2 days. Huey Lewis went on to sue Parker, claiming that the theme was a blatant ripoff of his hit, I Want a New Drug. The suit was settled out of court in 1985. The proton packs that they wear in the film were much heavier than they looked. Some were heavier than others, depending on what a scene demanded, and none of the actors enjoyed wearing these packs at all. It's said that Harold Ramis didn't complain much at all, but it's thought that Bill Murray complained all the time about having to wear these burdening backpacks. The firehouse that you see in the movie is actually 2 different firehouses in 2 different cities. The exterior is in New York City, and the interior is shot in downtown LA. This LA location firehouse has been used in many movies over the years. After Harold Ramis died, February 24th, 2014, fans of the movie paid tribute to him by visiting the New York City firehouse that was used in the exterior shots, creating a makeshift memorial featuring Nestle's Crunch Bars and Twinkies too. The exploding Marshmallow Man goo was powerful. To achieve this melty look, they dumped 50 gallons of shaving cream on actor William Atherton, nearly knocking him to the ground. Sigourney Weaver gave a unique Ghostbusters audition. When she appeared in this role as Dana, she was between 2 other landmark performances, that being Alien and Aliens. The former served as her breakout role, while the latter earned her an Oscar nomination for Best Actress, a first for her career. Producers weren't necessarily convinced that Weaver was the best fit for Ghostbusters. It took a lot of convincing that she was right for the part of Dana, so much so that when she got into the audition, she jumped down on all 4s and started barking and snarling like a dog. This seriously is how Sigourney Weaver landed the part of Dana in Ghostbusters. Take a look back at this fun film. It's a classic. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.